Picture this. You perform at the Super Bowl. Over 135 million people watch you live. The world stops. Your streams explode. Your legacy locks in. And the NFL pays you $0. Not low pay, not a discount. Zero. Now let's talk about Bad Bunny, because he just rewrote Super Bowl history. In February 2026, Bad Bunny delivered the most-watched Super Bowl halftime show ever, pulling in roughly 135.4 million viewers, officially surpassing previous modern records and entering all-time legend territory. His performance centered Puerto Rican identity, culture, storytelling, and spectacle on the biggest stage in entertainment. It wasn't just a show, it was a global cultural moment. And yet, like every other halftime headliner, he didn't get paid a performance fee. So why would any artist accept a gig where they technically lose money? Because the Super Bowl halftime show isn't a paycheck, it's a career multiplier. But first, let's break the illusion. Most people assume the NFL cuts artists a massive check. Wrong. Artists often spend millions of their own money to upgrade production, staging, choreography, travel, creative direction, and special guests. The NFL covers core production logistics, but the extra spectacle usually comes from the artist's pocket. The Weeknd reportedly spent around $7 million of his own money to elevate his halftime show. Dr. Dre's Super Bowl reportedly involved massive artist-side investment. Jennifer Lopez and Shakira reportedly saw huge back-end boosts, not upfront pay. Super Bowl halftime is one of the rare gigs where artists say, "I'll lose money today, so I can make 10 times more tomorrow." Now let's zoom out. Since Michael Jackson's 1993 halftime performance, the Super Bowl stopped being a marching band break and became the most powerful music marketing slot on earth. His show helped drive viewership to over 133 million US viewers and an estimated 1.3 billion worldwide, setting the blueprint for the modern halftime era. Ever since then, halftime is less about getting paid and more about owning culture. And Bad Bunny just did it at a historic level. But here's the twist most people miss. Artists don't get paid up front, but they often earn more in 1 week after the Super Bowl than in months of touring. Streaming spikes, merch sales jump, catalog tracks re-enter charts, brand offers multiply, tour demand surges, licensing deals expand, global recognition levels up. A halftime show can turn an artist from popular into unstoppable. Now let's get into the economics. The Super Bowl itself pulls in over 120 to 130 million US viewers in recent years, with global reach expanding annually. Super Bowl 58 in February 2024 peaked at 129.3 million concurrent viewers, one of the largest TV audiences in history. Brands pay millions for 30-second ads. Networks make billions from broadcast rights. The NFL dominates pop culture for one night, and the halftime performer gets global cultural ownership. The NFL doesn't pay artists because the real prize isn't money, it's power. Let's look at historical examples. After Beyoncé's halftime show, her catalog streams surged. After Rihanna's return performance, her music consumption skyrocketed. After Shakira and J.Lo, Latin pop saw a renewed global push. After The Weeknd, streaming numbers exploded. And now Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's halftime wasn't just entertainment, it was brand reinforcement, cultural dominance, Latino representation at the center of the global stage. A reminder that he's not just an artist, he's a movement. Short term, expect massive streaming growth, renewed catalog dominance, and elevated global touring leverage. Midterm, higher ticket pricing power, stronger fashion and brand deals, film, TV, creative directing opportunities. Long term, he locks in as a generational icon, not just a hitmaker. And here's the crazy part. Some artists don't just benefit financially, they benefit politically, culturally, and historically. Bad Bunny used the halftime stage to showcase Puerto Rican identity, pride, and storytelling to over 135 million viewers in one night. That's not just marketing, that's legacy building. Super Bowl halftime isn't a concert, it's a coronation. Now let's talk about the NFL's side. Why doesn't the NFL pay artists? Because the NFL knows the halftime show is already a free marketing jackpot. Artists compete for the slot, labels push for it, teams negotiate creative control. The stage is so powerful that exposure becomes the payment. And technically, the NFL is right, because the artist's return on exposure often dwarfs what any upfront payment could match. If an artist paid $5 to $10 million to produce a halftime show, but gains tens or hundreds of millions in brand equity, touring leverage, streaming revenue, and long-term fan growth, that's not a loss. That's a high ROI investment. Back to Bad Bunny. He already dominates streaming, already dominates touring, already dominates culture. So why do the Super Bowl? Because it cements him in American mainstream history, not just global charts. Because it positions him as a cross-generational icon. Because it expands his reach beyond music listeners into sports fans, casual viewers, families, older demographics, and international audiences simultaneously. It's the rare event where grandparents, kids, and internet culture all watch the same performance. The Super Bowl halftime show isn't about money, it's about immortality. Now here's something wild. Not every halftime performance becomes legendary. Some flop, some underperform, some disappear from memory. But Bad Bunny's show didn't just perform well. It reportedly became the most watched halftime show of the modern era, surpassing recent record holders and dominating conversation worldwide. Which means he didn't just get exposure, he got historical leverage. And that leverage translates into bigger tour guarantees, stronger sponsorship leverage, higher creative bargaining power, long-term cultural positioning, brand equity that outlasts hit cycles. Now let's pivot to the bigger financial truth. If the NFL paid artists up front, the halftime show would become transactional. Instead, it stays aspirational. Artists aren't there to collect a check. They're there to claim a throne. The real Super Bowl payday happens after the confetti falls. Now let's bring Bad Bunny back into the center. Short-term future outcomes after this halftime moment. Increased global streaming market share. Higher leverage for brand partnerships. Potential film and entertainment expansions. Even stronger positioning as the face of modern Latin pop. And culturally, he just proved that Spanish-language artistry can dominate the biggest American stage without dilution. That's not just good for him, that reshapes industry power dynamics. You might think the biggest halftime financial winner is someone like Beyoncé, Rihanna, or Michael Jackson. But here's the real hook in the story. The artist who earned the most from a Super Bowl halftime performance isn't who most people think. It isn't just about streams, it isn't just about sales, it's about long-term career revaluation. One halftime show can permanently raise an artist's lifetime earning ceiling. The biggest winners are the artists who use the halftime stage to relaunch their careers, enter new global markets, cement multi-decade relevance, multiply their brand value beyond music. The real jackpot isn't a streaming spike, it's becoming too iconic to ignore. And right now, Bad Bunny is positioned to be one of the largest long-term financial winners in halftime history because he's combining record-breaking audience reach, cultural impact, youth relevance, global crossover, business leverage. The NFL didn't pay Bad Bunny for the halftime show, but that performance may end up paying him for the rest of his life. When you zoom out, the Super Bowl halftime show isn't just entertainment. It's a mirror of culture, of identity, of who gets seen, heard, and remembered. Michael Jackson didn't just perform. He globalized pop culture. Beyoncé didn't just sing. She centered Black pride, history, and power on the world's biggest stage. Shakira and J-Lo didn't just represent Latin music, they turned Latina identity into a global headline. Rihanna didn't just come back. She showed that motherhood, femininity, and dominance can coexist unapologetically. And Bad Bunny didn't just perform either. He brought Puerto Rico, Spanish Caribbean identity, and an entire generation's energy to a stage that once felt unreachable. These performances aren't just shows, they're cultural timestamps. Moments where entire communities feel seen. Moments kids grow up remembering. Moments that quietly shift what the world considers iconic. Years from now, people won't just say, "Remember that halftime show?" They'll say, "That's when everything changed." If this video made you think, feel, or see music and culture a little differently, I'd love if you subscribed. My goal is to achieve 1,000 subscribers, and every comment genuinely means a lot. You're not just watching, you're helping build something early. And being early always hits different. See you in the next one.